In just 7 UFC fights, Alex Pereira has reached the summit of the MMA mountain, claiming the rarefied air of winning belts in 2 divisions.
Alex Pereira's cornering Sean Strickland. Look how big he is, dude.
How about him and Aspinall
Bro,
supposed to do it?
How big is Pereira? That's so crazy that they fought, and now Pereira's the light heavyweight champ. Who the fuck has ever won 2 world titles quicker than that guy? I mean, nobody. Never been done. No one's been a champ.
Pereira's success is fueled by his world-class kickboxing skills and a left hand capable of shattering chins into a million fragmented pieces.
Left hook was cultivated and created by Satan himself. Okay, that is a brutal left hook, and that's what should have been.
His left hook is nasty. It really is, man. It'll make anybody. It'll make somebody wake up and be like, "Is it Christmas yet?"
The difference is the man touches you and you just die.
In short, but things weren't always a bed of roses for Po-Atan or Stone Hands. At one stage of his life, Pereira battled with alcoholism and was lost in aimlessness, until kickboxing steered him away from the brink and turned him into the megastar he is today. This is the story of the most feared man in all of MMA. Born and raised in Sao Paulo's bustling streets, Alex Pereira's adolescence was hellish, with financial struggles being the pick of his problems. At just 12 years old, Pereira left school to join the workforce, where he unfortunately spiraled into alcoholism under the influence of his co-workers. From one job to another, Pereira switched things up a dozen times to pull himself out of this quagmire of desperation and poverty, but to no avail. It wasn't until he turned 21 that Pereira's wheels of fortune turned for the better, as he stepped inside a kickboxing gym. The rest, as we all know, is history. Pereira ventured into kickboxing in 2009, but it wasn't until 2013 that he truly made waves in the sport by clinching the Waco Pro Boxing Pan American Championship. After bagging 9 wins and 3 losses in his first 12 fights, Pereira kicked off his glory kickboxing journey in 2014 with a bang, delivering a stunning first-round knockout victory over Dustin Jacoby. After 6 fights and 4 victories, Pereira squared off against Israel Adesanya at Glory of Heroes 1 in 2016, where after a gritty battle of will and skill, he earned the victory by a unanimous decision. Adesanya was given a chance to redeem his loss at Glory of Heroes 7 in 2017, but the last stylebender was knocked out cold in the 3rd round, with Pereira's left hook sealing the deal once more. That was Adesanya's final kickboxing fight as he transitioned to MMA following that. As Izzy dominated UFC fighters, Pereira did the same in kickboxing, knocking out Macon Silva at WGP Kickboxing 40 in 2017, knocking out Yosri Belgaroui in the opening round of their trilogy in 2018, sleeping Donaghy Abena with that devastating left hook of his, and separating Ertugrul Bayrak from his consciousness with the same move. A year later, he too left kickboxing to focus on mixed martial arts. Pereira's MMA journey started in 2015, but his debut didn't go as planned as the Brazilian lost by a submission in the 3rd round. However, he bounced back with 2 stoppage wins in 2016 before taking a break from the sport. After a hiatus, the hard-hitting Brazilian returned to MMA in 2020, making a statement by knocking out Thomas Powell in the very first round. Despite his relatively young MMA record, Pereira's fiery feud with Israel Adesanya caught the attention of the UFC, and the promotion signed him without thinking twice. Pereira set the alarm bells ringing in New Zealand by stunning Andreas Michailidis with a flying knee in his UFC debut. He followed his victory up with a decision win against a resilient Bruno Silva in his second UFC fight, before fighting for a title eliminator in only his third promotional fight against the noisy Sean Strickland. The American was coming into the fight with a fight-winning streak and way more mixed martial arts experience than Pereira, but the Brazilian's kickboxing experience came in handy against his flat-footed opponent, who marched forward with reckless abandon and ultimately paid the price for standing face-to-face with one of the scariest kickboxers in the world. Halfway through round 1, Pereira countered Strickland with that left hook from hell and then dropped him with a big right hand to secure the biggest win of his career. With just 3 wins under his belt, Pereira's meteoric rise earned him a title shot against his arch-rival and dominant champion, Israel Adesanya. The two clashed for the 3rd time at UFC 281, where the Nigerian New Zealander dominated the first round, outstriking his arch-rival and nearly finishing him with seconds remaining. Pereira had a great second round, but struggled to decipher Adesanya's movements for the majority of the bout, until he had no option but to go for broke. In the 5th round, Pereira threw caution to the wind, pressing Adesanya against the cage and unleashing a brutal left hook that had the champion doing the chicken dance. Moments later, Pereira emerged as the new UFC Middleweight Champion. 6 months later, the two clashed in a rematch, where Pereira put his middleweight title on the line against Adesanya at UFC 287. The Nigerian New Zealander fought with a chip on his shoulder, as he had a lot to prove. And he did just that by knocking Pereira out cold in the 2nd round. Though Pereira was still 3-1 against Izzy, the latter claimed that their score was settled. Nevertheless, Pereira moved up to lightweight after suffering a crushing defeat at the hands of Adesanya, and in his divisional debut, he faced a seriously stiff challenge in the shape of former champion John Blachowicz. Pereira started strongly by landing powerful strikes while Blachowicz responded with calculated counters. In round 2, Blachowicz came out more aggressive, pressing Pereira against the cage and attempting takedowns, though the Brazilian showcased excellent defensive skills. Pereira regained control in round 3, dictating the pace with his precise striking and footwork as Blachowicz attempted to impose his will with grappling exchanges to no avail. After 3 rounds of battle, Pereira secured the win by a split decision. 4 months later, the light heavyweight phenom earned a shot at the vacant light heavyweight title against Jiri Prochazka. In the first round of the UFC 295 main event, both fighters came out cautiously, gauging each other's distance and power. Pereira showed his superior movement and striking, landing low kicks that badly compromised Prochazka's movement. In the 2nd round, Prochazka increased his aggression, pressing forward and landing some solid strikes. Pereira remained composed, however, as he used his footwork to evade Prochazka's attacks and counter effectively. As the round progressed, Prochazka continued to find success with his striking, backing Pereira against the cage. Just when it seemed like Prochazka was gaining momentum, Pereira unleashed a devastating left uppercut that dropped Prochazka to the canvas. Pereira followed up with ground and pound, and that was that. The Brazilian was now a 2-division UFC champion as he joined the elite company of Conor McGregor, Randy Couture, Amanda Nunes, Daniel Cormier, John Jones, and Henry Cejudo, who have achieved the same feat. In 7 fights, Alex Pereira has risen to the highest of highs in MMA, beating 4 UFC champions, and the next time he enters the cage, he will have the opportunity to add a 5th UFC champion to his list of vanquished foes when he battles Jamahal Hill at UFC 300. Will Alex Pereira continue his grand rise in the UFC? Share your thoughts, predictions, and opinions in the comment section below. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and ring that notification bell to stay in the loop on all things combat sports. Stay tuned, fight fans.